These days, at least within the event film format that celebrates man's will as his greatest weapon, it's four men with different levels of experience or lack thereof up against not a monster but weather. That's what we're fighting. We're fighting a monster storm. And to see men overcome that kind of impossible, almost mythical adversity under the umbrella of a true story is rare, and I think will leave people feeling pretty good. Richard Livesey was a man who was in the Coast Guard that was on this boat on this particular night doing something seemingly impossible, and having spent time with the Chatham Coast Guard in preparation of this project, what these four men did that night is still spoken about with such reverence. It's and excuse the pun, it is a lighthouse within the community of what it means to be a Coast Guard. The pleasure of making movies is always spending time with specialists, the people that have lived lives similar to, if you can't meet the people, people who live similar lives. So getting time to go out on we actually went on the boat that did this save with the Coast Guard was more privileged than anything. It's great to make a movie and all that, but to meet real heroes like these guys, that's why we do what we do. Is just to kind of tip the hat to those guys. And it's remarkable. The men and women of the Coast Guard are such an elite group of heroes who are terrible at their own PR. They're terrible at self-promotion. And if you think about the globe, there's a lot more water than land, so their territory, they have to cover a lot. And they're responsible for a lot of lives. And they do it with such humility and earnestness and goodwill. It's been a pleasure spending time with that community. Chris Pine plays Bernie Weber, a legend now because of this particular event. It's been a pleasure playing with Chris. He's one of the smartest, funniest actors I've worked with. Playing people that have lived, there's a certain responsibility depending upon the materials that are available within research. I'm not doing an impression of a man, or I'm not, what we're doing is trying to represent a kind of man, a quality of man. Sadly, it seems this quality of men has become quite sparse, and that's probably a longer conversation. But this story in particular was not spoken about by these guys. This save wasn't talked about to their wives or their kids or their grandkids. Didn't know about it because it's part of the job. And that's part of the humility of this kind of service. These kind of people are in the service industry. And their job is to save lives. So it's not about patting yourself on the back. It's about getting through it and doing the best job you can. And it's not easy. But that's what you sign up for. Ideally, the reason this story resonates with people and has been passed down and told and held with such reverence, not just within the Coast Guard community, but in anyone who's in the service industry, is against all odds, without proper equipment, the will and courage of man can conquer the greatest difficulties. And I think in a time that we live in now, which is very confusing and fear-based, barreling through and punching through fear, not being afraid, accepting your fear as reality and saying, I'm going to go above that to do the right thing. it feels in an interesting way that Disney is returning to its roots of original content and telling great stories about great people doing the right thing. I think we need more of that in our culture right now. I'm certainly looking forward to more of that kind of filmmaking.